Alrighty guys, so early start today, 8 o'clock. Much earlier than the other days. It's 20 past 8. Yesterday I think we left at 10 or something. This place doesn't have any breakfast, so we're gonna get coffee and breakfast on the way. We're gonna go through Geiranger and then go up that serpentine road on the side. It's supposed to be nice and scenic. There shouldn't be any buses there this time of the day. Yesterday it was just absolute craziness with buses and tourists and a cruise liner, and it was just really nice to have the space up here. We were in a little wooden house. It's quite nice, little block house, and they had a really nice restaurant. I thought we had a bit of a view over the Geiranger. You don't really see the Geiranger from there. You see it in the air picture, but that didn't matter. It was still nice enough to sit outside, have a beer. It's the first time we had actually food outside this entire trip. That was pretty cool, but it got a little cold towards the end. And there it is. Without the big cruise liner. Yeah, that looked like a completely foreign object in there. Yeah, very cool. So, let's go. Yeah, so this is what the Geiranger looks like in the morning. The way it should be like. Peaceful. It's definitely worth seeing if you haven't seen it. It's definitely worth coming down. It's definitely worth taking a boat trip down here. There's other options than taking the ferry boat, which is what we did. So we didn't want to leave the motorcycles fully packed, just sitting there, all those tourists roaming around. I wouldn't advise to do that. If you can park your bike somewhere, it's definitely the cheaper option. Because we paid for the bike round trip, and I think we paid about 100 per ticket, and I think it's like 30 or something if you leave the bike there. But yeah, with my camera equipment on the bike, I'm not totally paranoid with that, but I just I didn't want to let it sit there for a couple hours. Anyway, serpentine roads coming up now, and it does give you a nice view of the town. You see the sun's coming out. It was quite warm when we got started. Up there it was warm. It's 13 degrees here. It was 17 up on where we're staying. That's kind of weird. It feels a bit colder here too. Yeah, the view is nice. I mean, the road in itself is just, like I said, straights and hairpin turns. They're definitely more exciting roads than this, but the view is cool. Plus, no buses this time of the day. That's great. So, got cross traffic. Die machen sich da keine Platte. Steht hier rum. So, wir fahren jetzt da durch. Ganz langsam. Kuhslalom. We are getting close to Trollstigen, and the landscape is getting a bit more interesting now. There was a long sort of stretch where it was, you know, okay, but these are the sort of grand landscapes that are just absolutely breathtaking. Look at this. So I saw a few motorcycle riders already coming our way, and we still had to get here from Geiranger. So, Trollstigen. We're going down first, and then we're gonna come back up again. Might as well, we're here. Okay, it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Up the Trollstigen we go. Oh. Alrighty. Let's do this. It's pretty majestic. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I was thinking about flying my Skydio here, but it's really, really windy. And these tiny little branches and trees. That has me a bit worried. And since I crashed the other one already, I'm flying with the backup now, so... And the sun's coming out. Nice. So the road is relatively short compared to, let's say, some of the alpine passes, because you're not reaching the same kind of elevation up here. But the scenery is spectacular, absolutely spectacular. If you're interested in so yeah, it's 680 meters at the moment. Well, there are people up here, but it's probably not as crazy as it's going to be for the rest of the day, I would assume. Etsy! Trollstiegen! So guys, we're probably 40 kilometers in that range from Molde, which is also in the north. This is where we're going to stay tonight, but we're going to circle around a little bit, include the Wild Atlantic Highway. I'm quite curious to see what that looks like. There's great photographs of that, see how it is to ride it. And they've got this cool bridge. There's definitely more tunnels than bridges here, for sure. So kind of nice change of pace to have a bridge in there every once in a while. Well, the Atlantic Ocean Road is definitely worth seeing. The beginning part, yeah, it's kind of boring compared to all the stuff that we saw beforehand. It's still a nice approach, because then you approach, you know, with a little bit of a build-up. And of course, the actual road looks much, much nicer from the air than it does when you actually ride on it. So when you see all those pictures, you know, those aerial photos, well, I'll show you what I mean. So, Lederbier.
Ist immer gut.
Stößchen.
Leckerlich.
Mhm. Mhm. Wie ist denn hier so? Läuft, ne?
Richtig geiles Zeug.
Richtig geiles Zeug. Ja.
Das kriegst du dann auch nicht so gut, ne?
Ja, locker. Am Fjord. We're in Malta right now, which is the turning point of our trip. This is the most northern part of the trip. We got here early last night, had a really cool night, a couple extra drinks, which we can feel this morning. It was good to be there a bit earlier, to be honest, and just enjoy the view and the really nice weather too, because it was very warm. We had up to 25 degrees Celsius, which kind of reminds you that, hey, it's still summer. It's the end of August. But some people said it doesn't really get that warm here all the time. Yeah, with the speed that this guy's going, we're not going to catch the ferry. We're really cutting it close today. Shit. Yeah, so it's back south again for us today. We have 2 more riding days until we have to catch the ferry in Oslo, which will then take us back to Kiel. 20-hour ferry ride. So 2 more days of riding through this beautiful country. And we'll be spending a night yet again in another fjord, close to a fjord. And we'll have some really nice scenic roads on our itinerary today too. It's also a very long day, 370 kilometers of riding. There will be a good amount of sort of faster roads, I assume. And like I said, at this pace we're not going to catch the ferry. Jesus Christ, they're so slow here. And we opted to stay in the hotel. We didn't really check out this town here. I'm sure it's worth it, but it was really nice to have everything in one place. Had some beers when we were still in the motorcycle clothes, and then we could have dinner there. It was really nice, 5-course meal, a couple of whiskey. Yeah, it was a good night. 1 minute until the ferry leaves. You gotta be kidding me. We definitely never cut it that close. Jesus. Norwegian style. Hi. We go through the middle on this lane? Can we go to the very front on this lane? Okay, cool. Thank you. Well, I guess not. Doesn't matter. We're on the ferry. Good enough. Eine Minute.
Norwegian way. Yes.
Hi, the Norwegian way. Hi. It's on the same on the same.
Pay for 2 or pay for 1?
I have the ferry pay.
You have ferry pay?
Yeah, on both license plates.
Do you have a ferry pay on the boat? Okay.
Yeah. So there should be on the license plate should be in there.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Because we have a problem on the system at the land, you know, so the register is not...
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's worked so fine the past week.
This, you know, there are many ferry companies in Norway.
Okay.
And they have different systems.
Okay.
And this is the government system.
Okay. I can see by rolling your eyes that doesn't work so well. Okay. Ich dachte, als der LKW da nicht aus dem Arsch kam. Ey, das gibt's überhaupt nicht. Mir ist fast der Motor ausgegangen.
Yeah.
Guys, we're about an hour into our tour of that. There was just over half an hour of ferry ride, one of these super nice electric ferries. And entering the town of Vestre. It's a bit off the beaten path, I think, but it's no less beautiful than some of the other spaces. It's very dark, it seems, today. It's definitely a big cloud cover, and we are expecting some rain at least today. Yes, we go up the ramp, finally. And again, Norwegian timing, guys, Norwegian timing. We made it here in the nick of time. I was gunning it for the last bit of it. I had no idea when the ferry would leave, so I just assumed it would be... It would be 11, so here we are. Konnten wir endlich mal die Rampe hochfahren. See, this is how it has to be. KTM down here, GS is up there. Huh?
Wie lange fährt die hier?
Ich weiß gar nicht, ganz schnell. Geht ganz schnell, ja, ja. Ich noch kurzes Stück noch. So guys, we had a nice couple on that short ferry ride, which we made in the nick of time. Really cool, the people you meet. These guys been on the go for 27 days and they have another 10 to go. So they take a large chunk out of the year and they do these trips together. 2 up on the bike. Pretty cool. Yeah, I've never done a long trip like this. One of these days maybe. Longest has been, what, 16 days? But these guys are on the go for then almost 40 days when they get back home. Really cool. So I've got a whole gang of motorcycle riders behind me now, because there's a couple of GS riders also that came behind us. So now we passed a bunch of cars and yeah, it's a long group of motorcycle riders behind us. So we are back on the E39, which is one of the major roads, it seems, at least the one that we've been taking so far. So on the early days, early hours, we took a lot of the E39, and now we're back on the E39, even though this is a much nicer landscape. But you'll see there's one coming, bigger trucks here. So this must be one of the main routes going through. And yeah, we've got at least another 40 kilometers of that before we make the next turn. So we'll be on this straight road for a little while. But we have to cover a lot of ground today, so it's fine. We can just put it in cruise control and just enjoy the view for left and right, I guess. So guys, we just met these father and son riding on the GS. Yeah. 10,000 kilometers in a month. North Cape and back. Here you go. Yes. The cool people you meet. Getting these awesome views every once in a while over the fjords. Even on this main road, E39. It's still very scenic.
One of the postings the other week was these crazy Dutch guys with the big boxes.
Yeah. I think we met the Dutch ones too.
Same ones.
So, let's stop here.
Ja.
Ja. Oh, geile Karre. Was ist das für ein Gerät? Ein Lamborghini? Nee. Aus Hamburg. Das ist ein heißer Hobel.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were just waiting for the rain to kick in, and that's exactly what just happened. It's still around 20 degrees, so relatively warm. And there's a bit of a drizzle, it's a bit more than a drizzle. And the way we're going at the moment, it seems like it's gonna be raining for a little bit. So we just changed the gloves to the rain gloves. And let's see how long we will be riding in the rain from now on. So we're stuck here in some construction site with an awesome view. Now we have to wait. There's a long line behind us. There. And in front of us. We've only been sitting here for 5 minutes, so it shouldn't take too long, hopefully. Everything's fogged up from coming out of a very cold tunnel, and you take a left turn and you see this. This part of the glacier. Wow. Oh, that is really, really cool. Let's see how far we can take this here. Unfortunately, it's raining. We can still see the glacier. This doesn't look anything like that in the pictures. It looks like very unimpressive when you see it in real life. It's definitely worth a stop and pulling over, you know, just take a quick peek at least, you know. Krass, oder? Cooles Ding. Das sieht auf dem Bild einfach nach 0,0 aus und wenn du das so siehst,
Was sagst du?
auf dem Bild sieht es komplett boring aus, aber wenn du es in echt siehst, krass das Teil. Fett aus, oder? So now we're riding in proper rain. We just saw that glacier, which is really cool, absolutely worth seeing. That was one of those maybe positions on there because I wasn't quite sure if it's worth seeing, but it absolutely is. Even in the rain, I mean, it adds to the mood, I guess. But it would have been nice to take some aerial shots, but it was way too wet for that. And it was a good place to have lunch. And since it was raining anyway, we took our time. And there's a nice panorama window from the cafe, so even if the weather is bad, you can just hang out there for a little bit and still enjoy the view and have something to eat. So we got another 116 kilometers to go, just under 2 hours. And the next location is one of those scenic routes again. It'll be another hour before we get there. Ich hatte dann nämlich noch gesehen, dass wir noch eine Fährfahrt drin haben. Dachte, dann können wir auch hier einen Kaffee trinken, weißt du?
Auf jeden Fall.
Hat er noch angezeigt?
Weg.
Ja.
Da hab ich voller Schocken gerade. Dachte so,
Ja, ist krass, du kommst aus dem Tunnel, fährst auf die Fähre.
Was?
Echt total krass. We just had the craziest tunnel-ferry tunnel combination. We take this long tunnel, like 6-something kilometer, and you end straight where the ferry is, right at the ferry terminal. And then you take the ferry across, and we, in the nick of time, got it. You get off the ferry boat, short piece of road, back into a 6-kilometer tunnel. Totally crazy. And I think we're maybe going up the hill here. That looks like it. So yeah, that was crazy, and at least it doesn't rain over here. And it looks like it's for the remainder of it. It should hopefully stay dry. So we're cruising along the Aurlandsfjellet, if I pronounce it somewhat correctly. I probably don't. And it's this tiny, I won't quite say single track. Almost, it is like a single track. Really nice little road, and it's taking us up to higher elevation. We're at 560 right now. Not sure how high this goes. And I think there should be a really nice viewpoint at some stage of this. And it's such a refreshing road from sort of the larger roads that we took, which are also nice today, but you know, you get kind of tired riding these long roads, just following the traffic. This keeps you alert. Wow. Yeah, now you know why it's a scenic route. Just look at this. Beautiful. Oh, these dark clouds, it looks so foreboding. I think it's gonna come down and rain any second. Let's see if we can make it to our place without getting wet again. Just right off. So cool. Hey. Was ist das denn? Geht noch ein bisschen der Speed klar oder was?
Ein bisschen hochgeballert oder was?
Aurlandsfjellet, top of the pass, 1200 meters. It's really dark. Looks like it's like 10 o'clock at night or something, but it's actually 6 at night. It's definitely cold now. It's 13 degrees and roads are wet. Oh, it gets even better. Wow. So now we're heading down to the fjord level to get to our accommodation, which is right on the fjord. Really cool. So we've got these few hairpin turns to go, 6 kilometers, and that's gonna be it for today. Somehow it was a long riding day again, but really cool, especially towards the end. And now it's time for a cold beer and some food. So we're in Aurlands, I think that's the place. This is our last full day of riding today. Almost 400 kilometers in a single day. A lot of it's going to be just regular roads. But the highlight on today's tour is the Hardangervidda, which is the highest mountain plateau in Northern Europe. It's going to be a little while before we get there. So we're hoping that at least stops raining. It's not as cold as it looks. It's 16 degrees. Despite that, I'm dressed with the warmer level. If we're going on a high plateau, yesterday it was quite cold, 12 to 13 degrees, and if you're like wet, so I already put the mid layer on. It's a little warm right now, but maybe I'll be happy to have it on because I'm not quite sure how the rain's going to develop. I mean, you can always take it off or put back on again, but it's just one less thing to deal with. So the place we stayed at, really cool. Right on the fjord, little wooden house on the fjord. They have a restaurant there too, so we didn't have to venture out very far. Could actually take the beers and sit on a little balcony overlooking the fjord. That was really cool. That was perfect. Anyway, I'm looking forward for our last full day of riding. So we passed another waterfall, which we saw on the way up here, one of the earlier ones that we saw, and we're now going down the road that we came up the first time we came up here, and you can see the waterfall there. It's definitely worth seeing twice. Also the road is nice to go down there again. Look at this, this is spectacular. There it is. So the platform at top is not really the best place to see the waterfall. You really see it better when you come down here. But they have these great facilities up there, and the public toilet is probably nicer than the one you have at home. Welcome to Norway. So not only do they have a lot of tunnels here, but you also have this big roundabout in the middle of a tunnel. Now we just entered the Hardangervidda scenic route. I think it's, I don't know how many kilometers it's long, but that's the very beginning of it. So this part in the highlands is quite long, quite a long distance. You just go over the highlands and it's basically very bare and beautiful in a sense. You see the occasional biker, of course. So once we're out of this Hardangervidda scenic road, it'll be just a straight shot to an accommodation which is about an hour away from Oslo. Oslo is the place where we're gonna take the ferry back to Germany, to Kiel. So we have to enjoy the last sort of scenic bits of this trip. Oh, it looks awesome. Somewhat awesome, because that's the direction we need to go. You know, the dark clouds. I think that's where we need to go. Yeah, we're going this way, where the clouds are. This is where the clouds are not, or at least less clouds. This looks very much like rain over there. So guys, we've been riding for 2.5 hours in this kind of rain. Absolutely a pretty strong rain, I have to say. So I am getting soaked despite my excellent gear, but it's definitely starting to penetrate my gloves and also the suit a little bit. I'm sure my brother's completely dry with this new Badlands climb suit. Phil in this climb Badlands is bone dry and I'm leaking. Gloves are leaking. I definitely know that the shoes are leaking and there's stuff coming to my mid layer and to the underwear. Yeah, so.
But I am dry.
Yeah, you're dry. I'm ready for beer. Okay. Guck mal, Berliner. Einer? Da. Ein Berliner, vielleicht noch ein Berliner. Die Ickes sind da. Hier ist die Berliner Crew am Start. Last meal of a trip. The last supper.